Alright, today we're going to deal with another of these annoying modern tech fails. This is a NAD amplifier from the UK, I believe. I like their stuff actually. It's noticeably better quality than just the regular consumer grade amplifiers, but it's not so incredibly expensive that it's totally unreasonable. And so I have a little recording studio upstairs. I play a lot of music, and that's my main amplifier for replay. And I don't hear anything coming out of it. I'm making an A 440 Hertz out of the 3325 we just repaired. But right now I have it going through the speaker. Put that as an in, put this as the out, and turn the thing on. It's blue, powers up. My speakers don't seem to respond. I hear some faint relay, so that seems to be okay. But no output, and this thing has a little bit more capability than the regular amplifier. In particular, you can switch on your own preamplifier or put it in an extra box equalizer or something. So if I move my input to just short circuit the whole preamp, and I hear nothing better, there is something wrong in my amplifier section. Let's check actually if the preamplifier works. Back to the preamp, and that's attached to my scope, and we should see something, and we see strictly nothing. Okay, so neither the preamp nor the amp seem to work, so it's a global fault. So I would think power supply or something of that kind. We'll find out soon enough. Alright, lots of undocumented stuff on there. It certainly looks a bit tired over there. If you look there, oh yeah, that's even loose. So here is definitely a problem. But how could that have triggered a global issue? The amp, I can see it's starting from here, and that's the input to the amp. So that part here should make that part here fail. And how would a diode burn? Let's open the bottom, see if we can find some clues. Look how convenient that is. There appears to be a small door that I can open up. Okay. Ooh! Look at that, this is completely burnt out. This is just about to get bad. That is a scary fault. Okay, I found the schematics online, and that tells me actually that this is part of a power supply, and it'll make sense why this part was hot. Those are actually Zener diodes. What happens is that being a piece of hi-fi equipment, they try to stay away from switchers. So in the main power supply here is just mostly two rectifiers that do plus minus 55 volts. And there's a little auxiliary switcher, but it's just for the 5 volts for the little microprocessor that's hidden somewhere. And most of the rest, the 55 volts, comes out over here. There's a plus minus 55 volt for the main power amplifier, and there's another coil that's for that comes to this auxiliary power supply, which makes the plus minus 26 volts, the plus minus 18 volts, and the plus 12 volts. So I have none of these, which is why my stuff doesn't work. There it is, and you can see it takes that 55 volts analog in, and in the positive side of it, it drops the voltage with 2 Zeners and a resistor. And then it goes about making a linear power supply, so it drops it first to 26, then to 18, then to 12. And on the negative side, they don't really bother, they put it all in a resistor. So the fine regulation is done here, and then they take the reference from the positive and transfer it to the negative, and they don't bother too much. So what's happening is that these guys drop a lot of power and they got hot. And that resistor is pretty hot, and that resistor is pretty hot. I think this one also has problems. So here we go, my 55 volts come over here. Then it's dropped by those 3 components, so they all get hot. On the negative side, the voltage gets dropped by this one, and you can tell that this one is the solder itself too. So I guess I have neither the positive nor the negative power supply voltage that powers the first stage of my amplifiers or the preamp, so I get absolutely nothing. Okay. And another resistor. So here are the old Zeners, the 1 watt replaced by the 5 watt ones, the 3.3 ohm half a watt replaced with a 3 watt, and the 51 1 watt replaced with a 51 3 watt, I believe. Okay, so we'll see if that works. I have my generator doing an A at 440 Hertz. I hear relays at least, so that's much better. So something happened. Oh, there we go. There you go. Alright, well, we have repaired our NAD amplifier. And this is already so freaking hot. Not much of transistors, but the resistor is, you can't touch it. The Zeners are super hot. I'm tempted to actually put that one in, because this is just too hot. So this is Rev 2. I custom engineered myself a little solution here to put a heatsink over these guys. It's a famous tie, and I might do the same here. I put the bigger resistor and put a heatsink on it, or tie it to this heatsink. Alright, look at that beautiful heatsink repair here with the power of the tie, the plastic tie. So I put my little heatsink over here, and it's fairly well attached. It's not going anywhere. There's one zip tie that goes underneath and compresses all the stuff against there's a little heat pad in there, and there are 2 other of the ties that go across, the zip ties. And for the other one, I mounted the bigger resistor, also a thermal pad, and I made a little bracket here, which is screwed in here, and holding it really tight. And it's working right now, but I'm turning it down so we don't get all crazy. And that gets it at about 50 degrees Celsius on it, so it really needs the heatsink. And go 56, 60 at the resistor, so it really needed to be heat sunk. it went way over 100 degrees, I bet you, before. And this is this one over there. That's also going to go in that neighborhood. So that should be much better now. Never underestimate the power of the zip tie. As a little epilogue to this episode here, since I have repaired my amplifier, I have it in the lab, and then we repaired our two waveform generators that we had to do for the Soviet space clock. Then something I wanted to try for a long time ago. I bought some at an auction, some optical stuff, and those are galvanometers. This one is used to move a lens, so that's part of an autofocus system. I don't know if you can see the lens move back and forth when that thing moves. So I have two of those. These are strongly magnetic, so these are optical isolators. Whoop. Polarization maintaining. So they were part of a fiber laser system, most probably at 1064 nanometers. But what I really wanted in the lot, which didn't cost me very much, is the galvanometers, and those are really good ones. And so you're supposed to drive them with a multitude of signals in a servo loop, but if you just want to move them around with no particular precision, you can drive them just with two wires. It's as a speaker. And actually that would be a good test of how low the thing goes. So let's go to one. Introducing on this one. Okay, I'm just going to power one. And we see that one turning. So I'm impressed. This thing goes down to 1 Hertz. Let's see if we can do it the same with the other channel. And here we go. So you know where that's going, of course, right? I have a laser here pointed to the thing. So that's basically the principle of 3D scanning. Put the laser in it, and one moves it in the X direction, the other one moves it in the Y direction. And this one is going to move it up and down, and yeah, there is a laser point moving all over the lab somewhere. It's flying, it's flying, that's flying. Let me see if I can, yeah, I reduce the volume, right? So when you reduce the volume, it's a little point. When the volume is higher, deflection is higher, it moves more. And then we are going to go a little faster. On both sides, so we can hear it. Of course, I'm at 100 Hertz, so the mirror is not liking it, so it takes a lot more drive to move it that fast. There you go, 200 Hertz. There you go. Here's all the fun you can have with a little amplifier, two generators, and optical galvanometers. The optical gizmo bought on the cheap. So they'll go in the box of bad parts over here to rejoin their previous failed NAD part, which was this guy from also an amplifier, and that one actually almost burned my house down. It started a fire. I just got it right there. I just yanked the thing out of the shelf it was on. So, man, good amplifiers, but reliability could take a little bit more work in the power supply department here. Oh, where's my octave?